Time for another Hot Air Sports podcast with me, Macca, and my good mate Mahona. And mate, since we last came to air, the Black Caps are world test champions.
Champions, my friend. Woo! Yeah! For the first time in their history, the Black Caps are world test champions. Woohoo! It's got a ring to it, doesn't it, Macca? What a glorious night that was, mate.
Glorious night.
It was hard for me, mate. I thought I'd stay up and watch the first hour or so. I did that. We took a couple of wickets. I thought I'll stay for a little bit long. Every time I sort of started nodding off, another wicket happened. I thought, God. And then we got a small total. I thought, okay, I better go to bed. Otherwise, I'll be absolutely useless tomorrow. A lot of people would say you're useless today, but I could be useless tomorrow as well. So I went to bed and started watching it on my phone, and we started spanking off the runs. I thought, nah, what are you doing? Get out of bed, son. Go and watch it in the lounge. And so I got up and watched every single ball, and it was truly glorious, mate. In the wee small hours, we are now the world test champions.
Yes,
how good is that?
Right.
How good is that?
Didn't see a single delivery, unfortunately. I was sound asleep after driving for 8 or 9 hours to get from Greytown to Auckland to come and see your beautiful face in the flesh.
Yeah,
didn't quite see it through, but I tell you what, it was great looking at the phone on Thursday morning to see that the boys had come through and Kane and Ross had knocked off the runs fairly easily. Man.
Yeah, that was lovely. Lovely that the two of them could be there at the end too, wasn't it, mate? And it was, honestly, the Indians were doing a little bit with the ball there at the end in that second innings. And I thought, when we lost those two early wickets, but, they steadied the ship, didn't they, mate? 8 wickets. We won by 8 wickets. Comprehensive win. Absolutely. And Black Caps, the first ever. There is a world map. I saw a meme going around with a picture of the whole world and just New Zealand highlighted, and it said all the countries that have ever won the World Test Championship. Just had us highlighted down the bottom, which I thought was lovely. Great stuff. Great
photo doing the rounds too of Ross Taylor and Kane Williamson at the end. Walking off the field with Kane's got his arm around Ross, and they're just the smiles on the two lads' faces are just absolutely brilliant. And
make a statue out of it, eh? Make a statue out of that. It reminds me of the NRL one where they've got the two guys with the arms around each other, doesn't it? So make a statue of it.
Norm Provan and
Arthur Simmons. Yeah. Simmons and Provan, exactly. So now make a statue of it, mate, and give it, I don't know, put it on display. Or make a bronze out of it and put it at the Basin Reserve or something. I don't know. Fantastic.
Now, before we go on and talk a bit more about the upcoming World Test Championship, I just like to wish you a happy Bobby Bonilla Day.
Okay.
Yep, July 1st in the United States, which is the day that we're recording this. It's a very special day in New York Mets and baseball history, and I'll talk a bit more about it later on in the show. So
I hope you do, mate, because I don't have a bloody clue what you're talking about.
To find out what Bobby Bonilla Day is all about. Anyway, as we've mentioned, the Black Caps are World Test champions after defeating the mighty India, as some would have you believe.
Yes.
But despite being the new champions, Mahona, we're still going to be playing 2 test series in the next edition.
Why? Why don't we play 4 or 3s or 4s now? We're number 1, mate. We should be playing all the big ones.
The draw for the 21 to 23 round has been released, with the Black Caps only playing 13 tests, yet England play 22.
What?
India play 19 and Australia play 18.
Oh, well, that sounds fair.
Yeah.
That sounds fair, considering we're the number 1 ranked team, we're the current champions, and all tests, what they've done actually is made all tests valued the same, aren't they?
Yeah.
So say that I think it's 6 points for a win, 4 points for a tie, 2 points for a draw, something like that. We've got, how many tests did you say we've got? We've got 13 tests. Okay, so by my terrible mathematics, that would mean that the most we could have is about 74 points if we win every single test.
Yeah.
And with England playing an extra 8 or so, that would mean that they potentially have an extra 24 points they could get from somewhere. That doesn't sound fair to me, mate. Does that sound fair to you?
I really don't know how it works out, but I mean, so there's 6 test series. each country. We've got at home, we have Bangladesh and South Africa this coming summer.
Okay.
Sri Lanka the following summer.
Yep.
And we're away against India in November and Pakistan the following year.
Yep.
We're also next year away, and we have a 3-game series away in England.
Oh, okay.
3-game series. Woohoo!
Wow, that's almost taking it to the next level. Well, we don't play Australia, though, I notice.
No, we don't play Australia in this round.
Of course we don't.
In fact, the series that we had against Australia where they comprehensively beat us wasn't
count.
actually a World Test Championship point scoring series.
Oh, well.
I'm buggered if I know how the ICC are doing this. I mean,
I do. I know how they're doing it. They're doing it to favour England, India, and Australia. That's exactly how they're doing it.
It's because the ICC is run by India, England, and Australia.
Yeah.
Don't know how you can take this competition seriously, even though we've won it.
Can you imagine at the end of the Premier League if the table was like Manchester City played 36 points, Liverpool played 28?
Yeah.
That's the end of the season. Sorry, you just get to play 6 less or 8 less games. That's it.
Yeah. I mean, every other sport, football World Cup, Rugby World Cup, Cricket World Cup, the One Day World Cup, everybody plays the same number of games.
It's kind of important. It's to keep sort of if you're going to call it a fair and even contest, it's kind of important that all the teams play the same amount of games. Kind of important.
I would have thought so.
Yeah. Not rocket scientists at the ICC.
Least we got to divvy up 2.27 million in prize money with India for winning it. So let's take the cash, invest it wisely, and
win again. And win again next time with just 13 games. It's going to be bloody hard, but I'll tell you what, mate. The depth we've got in our side at the moment, you wouldn't put it past them winning it again next time. Yeah, absolutely.
I mean, you look at the current lineup over nearly 900 Test wickets amongst the 4 Kiwi pace bowlers, over 70 Test centuries amongst
that's phenomenal
6 Kiwi batsmen. You know, in the past we've had 1 or 2 superstars at the same time. You know, we had Crowe and Hadley around at the same time, but never anybody to back that up. You know, you look back to that great side of the 80s. I mean, yeah, there was some really good players in that side, but there were a lot of journeymen. And,
there were.
You know, that just sort of, you know, they were there and did their bit to help their side. But, you know, it was the batting of Martin Crowe and the bowling of Richard Hadley, really. That
absolutely. You know, absolutely. And that's the great thing about this game, about this team that we've got at the moment. If Kane and Ross Taylor had both got out, in the past, I would have completely shat myself. I would have said, we're going to go down in a screaming heap here. We'll be all out for under 100.
Yeah.
You know, you've got Henry Nicholls. You know, you've got BJ Watling. You know, you've got Colin de Grant. You know, you've got Jamison even can hold a bat. You know that they're not going to do that. They've just got a mentality, a winning mentality. And also, I mean, what I will also say is this is a reward for consistent selection as well. I've been banging on about changing our team for years, and I've been proven wrong. I mean, I thought Tim Southey 2 or 3 years ago was gone as a Test bowler. He has re-evolved himself as just one of the best Test bowlers in the world now. He's bowling like Richard Hadley used to at the end of his career, mate. He's just phenomenal. He's got that 3/4 seam ball, which does the extra, you know, moves away. He's just got it on a string. It's his experience. He's been in these positions before. He knows what he can do. He knows the limitations of himself. He knows the opposition bowlers, and it's that consistency of selection. And then there's 2 other reasons why I believe New Zealand's at the top as well, and they're called Jamison and Conway coming in. Jamison to supplement that bowling attack. Now we've got 4 world-class fast bowlers, absolutely phenomenal. The start to his Test career, we've never seen anything like it in Test cricket for New Zealand, let alone anywhere else. And Conway is exactly the same, to the manner born for Test cricket. I mean, just looking absolutely spectacular and slotted straight in there at exactly where we need him, at the top of the order. And then all those little other backup pieces as well. You know, BJ Watling's
prime example of that was the Test before the World Test Championship final against England. We made what,
Will
six
Young.
changes
Yeah.
in the first test and went on to absolutely thump England.
Yeah, exactly.
You know, guys like Will Young came in, he got 80. Kane wasn't there.
New wicketkeeper.
New wicketkeeper Tom Blundell
Yep.
kept. Matt Henry got.
Oh,
You know, it just shows the depth that we've got in New Zealand cricket at the moment, and I can't wait before we play Australia in a Test series. I think they're probably going to be a bit nervous.
I don't think we'll play them again. I don't. I think the ICC was no. We can just move that one until the next round. Wait until we've got a team decent enough to play them. And mate, when was the last time we did play Australia in a Test series over here? Can you remember?
Oh,
I can't
remember. Ago. And I mean, look at the
Shane Warne was probably playing, mate.
Yeah.
You know?
The last series we played in Australia, and talking about Tim Southey, he was actually dropped from the third test, not for resting. He was dropped.
Yeah.
So you look at how that has worked out for Tim. He's just, as you say, been magnificent, and that Test series against Australia, we were set up to fail. We had no warm-up games.
Absolutely.
We went straight into a day-night test in Perth without one of our premium fast bowlers in Trent Bolt.
Yep. Lockie Ferguson was underdone. He broke down after about
8 overs and was out of the test.
Yep.
And then third ball in Melbourne was great on Boxing Day, but then from then on, it just turned to crap. And of course, the third test, we had 3 or 4 injuries and just got absolutely thumped. So, I mean, come and play on in our backyard, Australia.
Come over here. We'll see how you go over here.
But just in regards to the 2-game series that we've been playing for the last few years, and as it looks in the future, I perfectly put the blame on New Zealand cricket at the moment. I think they're far more interested in the filthy lucre.
Of course they are.
They would far rather have 5 T20s than a Test match. It's just ridiculous. And you look at the crowds that are going to Test cricket now in New Zealand. Look at, we only had the West Indies and a poor Pakistan team here, but the grounds were filling up. I mean,
why are they filling up?
Yeah, but they're playing bloody well.
Because we've got a good side worth watching, Yeah, winners are grinners. I mean, obviously the accountants that in New Zealand cricket are like, oh no, fill in another T20 here and another T20 there, and we'll be rolling in it. But ultimately, what do you want? What do you want? Ultimately, I suppose they want coffers of money. That's what they're looking for. But I think they've got to respect the players and what they need to succeed, especially in Test cricket. I mean, one-day cricket, I think players these days are pretty good at swapping from T20 to one-dayers to T20, even from the Test matches straight into the one-dayers. But then transitioning back from the one-dayers to the Test matches, that's the real challenge, Yeah. And, I just think that, we need to put more emphasis, especially now we're number one. You'd think New Zealand cricket would go, right, we're number one at this form of the game. Let's focus on this form of the game a little bit more. But no.
What would happen across the Tasman if Cricket Australia came out and said the Ashes series this year is only going to be 2 tests because we want to fit in 5 more T20 internationals?
Bill Laurie would say it's an absolute disgrace.
The government would bring back the death penalty.
Absolutely. Chuck him in jail.
It's one of the things that really annoys me about Australia, and people say, oh, you can't rely on tradition and all that. Excuse me, the first test every year is in Brisbane in November, and then the touring team plays a couple of games, and then they'll have a test in Adelaide before Christmas. There'll be the Boxing Day test and the New Year's test, and it happens every single year. From year to year, I'm going to book my holiday in Adelaide for the beginning of December because there'll be a test there.
Absolutely.
Holiday in Perth for the middle of December because there'll be a test match there. Yeah.
There's a lot to be said for that, eh? There's a lot to be said for those traditions in Australia.
Yep.
I just think that we perhaps, we often look to them for advice or for a leading role in that sort of thing. And yet we're so quick to sort of say, nah, don't worry about that. Let's just earn some more money. surely if we had a Boxing Day, if we could just lock in one test a year, even if it wasn't a Boxing Day, if it was a New Year's test, if it was a January anniversary day test at Auckland or something, lock it in. This is when a test match is going to happen every year. There's a lot to be said for that, man. And then schedule everything else around that. We just seem to sort of think, okay, we can schedule that with T20 or a one-day series. Oh, we can fit in a couple of test matches there. Test matches are like the last thing. And it's like, should be the first thing. Put the cart before the horse, or the horse before the cart.
Yeah, so what did I say? We've got Bangladesh and South Africa coming this summer.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm guessing that'll be 2 tests in December against Bangladesh and then a couple in
February
or March
against
South Africa. But yeah, we don't know until they release the schedule.
And I can't remember the last time we had a test in Auckland. I mean, honestly, we haven't had a test match in Auckland for probably a decade because of Eden Park.
About 6 or 7 years ago, there was the test against England, I think it was, which got pretty much washed out.
That's right. Yeah.
We bowled the ball out for 60 or whatever it was on the first day. And then the rest of it pretty much got washed out.
Yeah, that's the thing to do as well. Whenever you're having a drought in Auckland, just schedule a cricket match.
Yeah. Anyway, that's enough about the New Zealand cricket for now.
Let's just remember before we move on, we are the champions.
We are the champions. Thank you very much for reminding me.
Number one.
Marvellous. Now the All Blacks have named their first Test team of the season. And
they have.
A very, very experienced Tongan side. Oh, no, it's not. Time players with 13 new caps, and all their regular team members are pretty much stuck in Europe at the end of the club season and not able to get back. It's an interesting one. Why are the All Blacks not playing a strong Samoa team who have just had a game against the Maori All Blacks last week, and instead of playing the All Blacks tomorrow at Mount Smart Stadium, the All Blacks are playing a Tongan club side, and Samoa is playing another game against the Maori.
Oh, look, Macca, we scheduled this years ago. This schedule's been going for years, and we can't stop it now. We can't change anything, even though the world is changing and there's a pandemic and there's all sorts of other reasons. Look, this has been locked and loaded. The Tongan Rugby Union needs the money from this. They're going to get 30,000 fans at Mount Smart Stadium to see their team get humped by 80 points, and then they're all going to go home happy. Well, yeah. What did you think of the All Blacks side, though, they've named?
Yeah, interesting. I see they've named Damien McKenzie at fullback.
That's an interesting one. Will
Jordan on the wing.
I
mean, obviously, it's not their top lineup. I mean, there's a possibility of 4 new caps. Quinn Tupai has been named in the starting lineup, so congratulations to him. Probably would have been David Havili, but he tweaked an ankle or a knee in training the other day.
Yep.
So
the loose forwards are the interesting one for me. 6, 7, and 8. You've got Akira, Dalton Papali, and then Luke Jacobson. I think that's a really interesting, maybe nod to the future for the next World Cup. I like all of those players, and it'll be really, really interesting to see how they go. What do you think?
Yeah, I think it's probably the B loose forward trio. I think you'll find in the big tests, Ardi Sevilla
definitely
7, Hoskins Satutu will play 8, and probably either Shannon Frizzell or Ethan Blackadder will be the number 6, probably Frizzell. But yeah, going forward, I think, that Savia Satutu / Blackadder / Frizzell is going to be our loose forward trio at the next Rugby World Cup in 2 years.
Absolutely.
Good to see Finlay Christie.
Absolutely.
Put on the bench. Good luck to him. The little ginger. And, of course, the other 2 uncapped players, George Bauer is one of the reserve props.
Yes.
And who was the other one?
Ethan Blackadder.
Ethan Blackadder, of course.
Yeah. Nice to see another Blackadder in the team, eh?
Quite right. Another of the great father and son members. Looking back, I'm actually trying to think of
the previous father and son.
Yeah, well, there was Brian and Sean Fitzpatrick.
Of course.
Going back a few years now.
God. That is difficult, isn't it? I mean, I would hope that Jeff Wilson's kids would be talented. Maybe Dion Nash's kids. Come on, I mean, killer Kiwi couples, but we haven't seen any of their kids come through yet. I mean, what are they doing? What are they mucking around for?
Quite right. So probably going to be a cricket score at Mount Smart Stadium on Saturday.
It will be definitely.
On to cycling. Horrific crashes have been the main news for this year's Tour de France. The two massive pile-ups on day one. One of these was blamed on an over-exuberant spectator who was seen beaming a smile towards the camera, holding a sign.
Probably the last time she smiled in the last few days.
Yeah, holding a cardboard sign, which riders crashed into. The woman's apparently been tracked down and arrested. But is it time for cycling to get its act together and clamp down on spectators encroaching on the roads? It's happened plenty of times before.
Mate, I've been wondering for years how they get away with it, especially when they go up those narrow mountain stages where people are running next to the bikes. And I've seen people get spat on. It's just awful. But I just don't know how you're going to do it. It's a bit like the problem that Trump had with his wall. It just goes so bloody far. You can't cover it all, you know. How the hell are you going to keep the spectators away? It is part of the thing. But when people are that bloody stupid that she's not even looking at the cyclists coming, she's looking the other way towards the camera.
Not even seeing the cyclists coming,
It was just an absolute diabolical decision for you.
It's not only spectators, though. We've seen team cars bash into riders.
I know. Yesterday, they actually all stopped and said, "Look, this is enough. We've had enough of it. We're not going to do it anymore." It's just
Mark Cavendish, who won the stage a couple of days ago, actually came out and said somebody's going to be killed one day.
Well, I'm surprised they haven't. I mean, it's just absolutely nuts. I did see a few people that don't really know what they're talking about say, couldn't he just plow through? That was just cardboard. It was just, can't he just go through cardboard? What's wrong with him? I'm thinking, have you ever been, I mean, I haven't, but I can imagine if you're near the front of a peloton with 1,000 bikes behind you, you don't really have a lot of chances to maneuver too far, have you? So, no. Mate, it was just idiotic. Like I said, I'm surprised it hasn't happened earlier, to be fair. Just crazy. I was just looking at the All Blacks, going back to what we were talking about before, the All Blacks father and sons, the latest father and son. Can't believe we didn't remember this one. Caleb Clark.
Oh, of course.
Knew there was one earlier. I was just like, God, I've got to remember who that was. Caleb Clark, Ridley Clark, of course. And of course, Caleb Clark would never do anything like that. He'd never put his life at risk for the peloton. No, never did it.
Quite right.
No, it's just ridiculous, mate. It's just ridiculous. Get away from the riders. Get away. If you want to get on TV, there's easier ways to get on TV without being arrested.
Crazy. Now, there's been mixed reaction to the New Zealand Olympic Committee naming transgender weightlifter Laurel Hubbard and the team to travel to Tokyo. Even a protest outside New Zealand House in London, while she has also received support from other athletes. It's a bloody difficult situation, isn't it?
It is, mate. It is. And you don't want to sort of come across as a bit of a bigoted sort of guy saying, he's bloody, we shouldn't even be changing. What's he doing? He's a man or a woman. Adam and Eve, not Adam and Steve. What are you doing? No.
A bigoted 50-year-old white male.
Look, I'm two of those categories. I'll let you guess which. The thing is, look, if you want to go and get a sex change and all that sort of stuff, that's good for you. If you want to then go and play lawn bowls or darts against females, good for you. And you want to take that to a top level. But as soon as you start competing in strength and speed events for me, and you are now classed as a woman, but you used to be a man, I just don't think it's fair. I mean, I'm not a scientist, but I've got to think there's some muscle memory, there's some sort of strength left in you from you being a man. I don't care about the testosterone. I just think it's just not fair. I just don't think it's fair on the woman she's competing against. I mean, if it was fair, why don't we just have a transgender Olympics? I mean, is that the way to fix this? Because you don't see too many going the other way, do you, wanting to compete against the men because they don't have the strength and speed. That's all well and good, but I mean,
she has actually not done anything
No,
wrong.
she hasn't. I don't have anything
It's
against
the
her.
regulations that need to be clarified here.
I have nothing against her personally. No.
No, absolutely not.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's something that the powers that be, it's the as I talk about at New Zealand Rugby headquarters, the man behind the desk making up all the new rules. Needs to be a man or woman or a transgender person sitting behind a desk that's in power at the IOC and just says, look, these are the rules, these are the regulations. Yes, this can happen. No, this can't happen. And until somebody does that, I mean, it's going to create controversy.
Yep.
We've had the situation in the States where in a similar situation, a woman, a transgender athlete has been denied the opportunity to compete at the US Olympic trials.
And what event?
It's running.
Okay.
I can't remember which.
Yeah. What running event? But yeah.
What running event, but athletics. Yeah.
Okay.
And of course, there was the whole nasty situation around South African athlete Carsten.
Oh yeah, Carsten Semenya
gone by.
And Carsten Semenya hasn't had any operation or anything. That's the way she was born.
Yeah.
It's just a real tricky situation, eh? I mean, I just think though a biological man who's transitioned into a transgender woman still has the larger frame, better muscle composition, greater lung capacity, a larger heart, a variety of other massive biological advantages. And I just think that transgender in competition against women is essentially still a man versus a woman. And I think where strength and power and speed don't matter, fair enough. But where they do, you've just got to draw a line and say, no, you cannot compete against women. You'll have to either compete against men or compete against other transgender athletes. I mean, they've got a Special Olympics. Can't they have a transgender Olympics? I don't know. But I just don't think it's fair to the other, not so much to her. And like I say, I've got nothing against Laurel Hubbard. I just think it's just not fair on those women that have, because there is a woman in the world that is going to miss out on going to the Olympics because Laurel Hubbard's there. You know that. So,
yeah. Oh, well, anyway, continuing with the Olympics, 10,000 spectators apparently will be allowed to watch at some Olympic venues in and around Tokyo.
Okay.
But Samoa has withdrawn from the games. Do you think we're going to see other countries pulling out as the games get closer?
I don't know. I guess it depends on how much other countries really care about their athletes. Yeah, because, I think that's a great decision by Samoa. I mean, I know it's not good for the athletes, but you and I have talked about this in length for the last few months, mate. Yeah. We don't think there should be an Olympics. I mean, it's different from the European Football Championships where the teams are in a bubble and then they're traveling to an event and then they're coming back. You're not getting people from all over the world going to one place, Yeah. And it's just the potential for, it's just too great. And I just don't think that it should happen. Good on Samoa for doing it. I can't see too many other nations following in their suit, though, because I think that, once again, it's going to come down to that.
Oh, absolutely. And they've already said that if the Olympics didn't go ahead, it was going to cost Tokyo and the IOC $55 billion if that didn't go ahead. It's just, it's crazy.
Do they not have insurance?
Yeah. Come on, where's your event insurance?
Yeah. Premiums on that would be a little bit. Oh, but come on.
Come on, state insurance, sort it out.
Yeah, they think the Christchurch earthquake was a disaster. Paying out on that one. Pay out on the Olympics. So ultimately, though, shouldn't matter if it costs $500 billion. Shouldn't matter. Yeah. Lives are more important than dollars, but we don't make these rules, do we?
No, quite right. Anyway, that's the end of the big issues for this podcast. Moving on to football. The European Championships are at the business end with some surprises in the round of 16. Notably, France and the Netherlands have been knocked out, paving the way for Spain, Belgium, and Italy on one side of the draw. England appear to have a relatively mediocre path to the final, don't they? Ukraine in the quarters and either the Czech Republic or Denmark in the semis. But the big question, can England bring football home?
No.
Short answer.
I just love the way they all sing and they go, we beat Germany, yeah! Well, Germany have been average. They have. But I just love the way they just talking it up. Oh, we're on the right side of the draw. It's all ready for us. We're gonna win. I just think they'll probably beat Ukraine. I think Ukraine played the extra time. They look absolutely dead on their feet. I think they'll probably beat Ukraine, and then they'll lose to either Sweden or the Czech Republic in the semi-final. Is my pick. Denmark or the Czech Republic is my pick. Look, they've got the players for it. Everybody praising Gareth Southgate now for picking an ultra defensive side against the Germans. Nah, mate. He didn't pick in that starting lineup. No Mount, of course. He was with the COVID and stuff. But yeah, but you got no Mount, no Foden, no Sancho, no Rashford. I mean, these are all the players. No Grealish. These are all the exciting players that can make a difference and change the game. And then Grealish comes on, provides a pass for an assist, and then gets an assist himself, basically proves Gareth Southgate wrong. And everyone's like, oh, he knew what he was doing, bringing him on with... What? He should have been on in the first place. So, no, mate, I just think...
He's got to start the next game, doesn't he?
He has to, but I don't think he will. I don't think he will. I think Gareth Southgate, he's our impact sub. I
think you can't play Declan Rice and Calvin Phillips in the same game either.
No.
I think Jordan Henderson's got to come in for Rice, I think.
Especially against Ukraine and either Denmark or Czech Republic. You should not need two defensive midfielders. No. One of them can do the job. I liked the first game when Phillips was actually floating forward and provided that pass for Sterling, you know?
He was playing more of a box-to-box role.
He was. Obviously, against the Germans, he was told to sit back a little bit. But I just love it. I'm just loving this championship. It has to be one of the best European championships ever. Yeah. So many goals, so much drama. That Spain game the other day, where they were up 3-1 and ended up crashing, down to 3-all.
The France-Switzerland game.
The France-Switzerland game was just
3-1 up. You think... 80 minutes.
Especially after Pogba scored that goal and did the old Cantona celebration and everything,
Gone.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
I think a lot of it has got to do with, and we talked about this on the last podcast, about the officiating at the tournament. I think it's been first class.
It has. They've let a little bit more go. Have you noticed that? There's a number of fouls that would definitely be fouls in the Premier League where a guy just pulls over and the ref's just gone, not quite enough in that, which I love. I love. Not every single time two players collide, it has to be a penalty. Yeah. Mind you, the other day, did you see, what was that? That was in the, was it in the Denmark? No, it was the Sweden game. Sweden-Ukraine game, where the guy followed through, got the red card for that. Did you see that one? And his name, which I thought, mate, you shouldn't be sweeping the leg with a name like Danielson. That's just a little dad joke there for Karate Kid. His name's Danielson, and he just kicked the ball away, and then he followed through and kicked the guy's knee. It's a difficult one, isn't it? I mean, it's a real difficult one because you are putting the player in danger and all that. But that was one where he went across to the sideline and had a look, and I think ultimately made the right decision, even though it's such a tough decision. He could have broken his leg and sent him off. But you're absolutely right, mate. The refereeing in this generally has been a hell of a lot better because they've let more go. Just let things go occasionally, Every collision between when a guy falls over, it's not always a bloody free kick,
Well, we saw that in the Premier League, though, wasn't it? It became almost like a netball game. Contact, penalty pass.
Oh, absolutely. And this has shown that there is allowed to be a little bit more contact in football. Hooray!
The best refs I've seen in this tournament was the guy that refereed the France-Switzerland game. He was Argentinian.
Yep.
They did Europe and...
He's got the scary eyes, eh?
Yeah. Europe and South America did a couple of referee swaps for the respective tournaments. So there's a couple of Europeans refereeing over at the Copa America, which is going on at the moment. And I keep forgetting that's on. It's on Spark Sports. I keep forgetting. So now that they're down to the same stage in their competition, I must start watching it. And I see Brazil have been doing pretty well so far. They've been winning games fairly easily. So
it's on at the same time, and I do love the Copa America. But the problem with that is they had 3-team groups, and they play about 50 games, and then all they do is drop out 3 teams. It's only one team in each of the. So only a couple of teams go home after the first. It's like their whole format is completely stuffed. So no, when it gets to the business end, to be well worth watching. So Brazil, I mean, they should always do well, mate. Look at the amount of talent they've got. Yeah, absolutely crazy.
One other thing to come out of England's fantastic world-beating win over Germany.
It's coming home. It's coming home.
But Harry's back. Harry Kane. He's back. He's going to finish up with the golden boot now that he's scored a goal.
Well, yeah, obviously. Oh, my gosh. He played, I think, in the first 35 minutes of that game, he had 2 touches of the ball. He was nowhere. He was anonymous. He was. He's looked really short of a Gallop to me. I mean, he just doesn't look fit. And I think obviously he's getting a bit more fit. And that finish, obviously, he needed that more than the team did, I think. And Raheem Sterling's the other one as well. Raheem Sterling, the guy that's so maligned. I mean, I wouldn't have him in the side. I'd have Sancho ahead of him. But he's scoring a few goals too and looking the part. So yeah, good for them. Good for them.
Yeah, I thought in the England game, I thought Sterling was poor in the first half. But then I actually thought he played quite well in the second half.
He did play quite well in the second half, yeah. But I just think that Gareth Southgate keeps him on the field to just hopefully score a goal and redeem him for his selections.
Well, at the beginning of the tournament, or actually after the first round of games, I put a bit of dosh on at the TAB on France, which is gone, Italy and Belgium, and now Italy are playing Belgium. I'm going to be left with one side. So
okay. Well, I chucked all my money on Italy at the beginning of the season, at the beginning of the tournament, mate. So I'm for the Italians. I think they've looked very, very good these European championships, and very consistent. Mind you, they did have a little bit of a problem in their first game. They didn't look quite as good against a more sort of pressing sort of side. So it'll be interesting to see how they go in the tournament.
Yeah, they left it late, didn't they, to win that game with the
Chiesa, man. I told you about him, eh? He's a good player, man.
Both coming off the bench to score those goals. So very good. Very Italy. Yeah, as you say, have been playing. Belgium are just Belgium.
It's a question of whether for Belgium, I think it's a question of whether Kevin De Bruyne's going to be fit. He went off, and and Hazard went off as well, didn't he? With a bit of a tight hamstring. I mean that could have been that would have been paying $1 at the TAB, I reckon. Hazard going off with a tight hamstring or something.
How about his younger brother? That goal he scored.
Oh, Torgan. Yeah, he's a good player. I can't believe a Premier League side hasn't snapped him up recently. You know, because he'd be perfect for someone like West Ham. You know, where he could bang in one of those goals once a year. And no, but he's a handy player, Torgan Hazard for sure.
Yeah, I think he's Borussia Mönchengladbach.
That's right.
Liga, I think he plays for.
Yep.
So he's done it before for Belgium too. Scoring good goals and important goals, and he's a very good player. And it was Austria that Italy struggled.
Austria, thank you. Yeah.
Now Everton and Spurs finally have new managers after a manager merry-go-round over the last few weeks, and Everton have signed nonetheless former Liverpool boss Rafa Benitez, who's heading across Stanley Park to guide the Blues. It's an interesting pick. I mean, it doesn't worry me as a Liverpool fan to see him going there, but I don't know if I'd be overly wrapped as an Everton fan.
See, that's the thing, eh? We're both Liverpool fans and we're both smiling. We don't give a damn. We don't give a damn. You can have Rafa. First of all, because the type of football Rafa plays, when he was at Newcastle, very defensive style, sits in, you know, they just let the opposition play, don't need a lot of the ball. If that's what Everton are looking towards, then, you know, good for them. But like I said, I don't care. Rafa, go over there. I wouldn't be happy if I was an Everton fan, but Rafa, go and be manager of Everton. You've got a very, very tough job there. Like I said, I don't care until they come to Anfield and turn us over. Then I'll care. But I can't see that happening, to be fair.
No. In Greytown here, one of the lads that plays for our Greytown Football Club team is a Everton man, born and bred in Liverpool, and Everton supporter all his life. And I asked him yesterday, And he said he actually doesn't care who Rafa has managed previously or what he's said previously. He said he's a world-class manager, and for my club, that's all I want in charge.
Fair enough.
Who is a world-class manager and has won trophies before at different clubs, and he said, I'm pretty happy.
He sounds way too sensible to be an Everton fan. I mean, that's exactly how you should be feeling if you're an Everton fan. But I just think I've met way too many emotional Everton fans in my life to think that that's how most of them will be thinking.
Now, the next new manager who has found a home, Nuno Espirito Santo, he was going to Crystal Palace. No, he didn't end up there. Then he was going to Everton. No, he didn't end up there. But Daniel Levy gave him a call, and now he's the Spurs boss. So we thought, it's going to be Jose Fonseca. No, it's not going to be him. Oh, then we'll give Antonio Conte a call.
No, it's not going to be him.
I don't think you're the right person.
What about Rafa? We could get him. No, Rafa's gone to Everton, I hear. No.
Okay, Nuno, at Spurs.
No. Come in, Nuno. The thing is with Nuno, I like the style he plays. So if he does a similar sort of thing to Wolves, then fair enough. Will he bring in the same sort of Portuguese style and the Portuguese players? I'm not really sure, because obviously Wolves have a relationship with a certain manager who's a certain sort of player agent who brings the players through there. But he's got a good squad at Spurs, and I guess the big question for Nuno, and the number one question that all the fans will be asking, can you keep Harry there? Will that be enough to keep Harry there? I would suggest it probably won't be enough. And the big Harry Kane thing is obviously that there is rumours that Manchester City have made a bid for Harry Kane, the first bid anyway, £100 million for Harry Kane from Manchester City.
Talking about transfers, the transfer rumour mill is in
full effect. Massive
demand at the moment.
Every day we're trying to sign a new player.
But Manchester United have finally got their man with a year-long saga coming to an end, with England winger Jadon Sancho heading to Old Trafford. After United and Borussia Dortmund finally agreed a £73 million deal.
Yep.
Leicester City have signed supposed Liverpool target Patson Daka from Red Bull Salzburg, while plenty of players are linked with England's top clubs. Yuri Tielemans, Rafinha, Kylian Mbappe and Kingsley Coman with Liverpool. Harry Kane and Jack Grealish with Man City, as you mentioned. Germany's Leon Goretzka with Man United, while Chelsea are also linked with a host of players, including the Norwegian wizard Erling Haaland. So if you believed all the rumours, Liverpool would have a completely new squad, and so would Manchester United.
Yeah, I mean, the big ones there for me, the Manchester City. If they get Harry Kane and Jack Grealish, you may as well call it a day and everyone pack up and go home straight away. I just think they'll be a lay down misère for the Premier League title next year. Whether they can afford them, who knows? But I mean, I've been told that the financial fair play regulations are going to be loosened this year, so all bets are off.
Fair play regulations
being loosened. So if they're loosened, that means that they'll go out and spend £500 million, and they'll probably pick up whoever the hell they want. Haaland going to Chelsea, didn't they just buy Werner? I mean, how many strikers do you need? I mean, I don't know about that one. I would love Liverpool to sign another option up front. I don't think we will, but I would love us to. I suppose they still think Jota's still going to be playing up there next year. He didn't because of injuries and a bunch of other things. He did pretty well last year, but I guess he's that up front piece. Of the ones that we've been linked with, obviously Kylian Mbappe would be absolutely amazing, but I just think that that's just all paper talk, to be fair. And he didn't exactly cover himself with glory with France, did he? Takes the 10th penalty and misses. Oh, dude, I mean, you want to be
3 years ago he was the player of the World Cup. This time he's been the chump of the European Championship.
Then again, maybe that's the perfect time to make a bid for him, you know? When his stock isn't quite so high. So if we got Mbappe, mate, I would honestly, I don't know, maybe I'd do this podcast in the nude or something. I'd be a very happy man anyway. I'd be a very happy man.
Quite right. So yeah, we'll keep you posted on the.
We certainly will.
transfer situation, which goes right through till the end of August. Of course, now we've passed July 1, so the transfer window is officially open, even though Liverpool have already signed Ibrahim Konate from Red Bull Leipzig, and another young guy from somewhere. I can't even remember what his name was.
Yeah, he's for the future, a 16-year-old or something. Just before we go to the A-League, mate, just a quick one. Europe's football governing body, UEFA, has abolished the away goal rules next year from all its competitions. What are your thoughts?
Oh, it's absolute rubbish.
It is, eh?
It's just...
I can understand if they had have done it during the pandemic, because there was no one at the game, so maybe every goal counts the same. But how can you say a goal scored at Anfield away isn't more important than a goal scored at home? I mean, it is. It should be.
Crazy situation.
So the rule was introduced in 1965. Of course, it led to Tottenham's stoppage time success over Ajax in the 2019 Champions League. UEFA said away goals would no longer be a separating criteria when looking at matches between two or more sides level on points in the group stage of the competition. The one bad thing about the away goals rules for me was always when it went to extra time, that side playing away from home always had a massive advantage over the side playing at home. So, but the away goal rules was always a good way to, I thought. So absolutely. I guess there's going to be way more penalty shootouts.
Yeah, well, perhaps that's what UEFA want, is the the sudden death situation of penalty shootouts. Ooh, goes.
Ooh, so exciting.
Yeah. Yes, it's exactly why the likes of American and Australian competitions have a finals series.
That's right.
It all goes back to money, greed. It's just, don't get me started. Anyway, talking about the A-League, the season's finally come to an end with Melbourne City reigning supreme over 10-man Sydney after Luke Bratton saw two yellow cards, which resulted in a red. All white Costa Barbarouses put the Sydney Siders in the lead with a stunning goal before Bratton got sent off. City cruised to the title after previously finishing top of the table in the round robin. Really, when you look at it, they have been the best team right throughout the season.
Yeah, they have. And, good on them. They've been building for the last 2 or 3 years. They've been getting better and better. Obviously, they are backed by the City Group, which is the same outfit that owns Manchester City and a bunch of other cities around the world. So they've got a hell of a lot of resources behind them. So to me, it basically says...
but there's a salary cap, Aaron.
Is there?
Yeah, there is.
Yeah. Well, there's ways to get around salary caps, Macca. There you go. So once again, good for them. But it just seems to me like, once again, the team with the most money is at the top of the table.
Yeah, well, the team with the second most money finished bottom. So, how do you work that one out?
Yeah, well, they'll be back next year. I can't see them staying down there forever, eh?
Oh, absolutely. Moving on to rugby now. Caleb Clark, you mentioned it before, as one of the father and son All Blacks. He decided to forego the opportunity to become an All Black this year and chase his sevens dream. Well, unfortunately, Caleb's missed out on the 12-man sevens team to go to the Olympics, although he has been named as a travelling reserve.
Okay.
So, was it the right decision?
Oh, well, I suppose now that he hasn't made it, you can easily say no, but he's still such a young guy. And
he is. Yeah, he's only 22.
Yeah, he's got so much potential. Obviously he did what he thought was right for him at the time. Would it have really mattered if he would have been playing for the Blues? Well, he would have picked up a Super Rugby championship. So maybe in retrospect, it wasn't the right decision, but I don't think you can doubt him. I think perhaps if he had played sevens last year, he probably would have made the squad this year. He would have probably had a better aerobic base to build from, all that sort of thing. So, yeah, mate, he's a great rugby player. He'll be back. He'll be back for the All Blacks. I think that's a really good thing that he did. I don't think every rugby player needs to beat to the same drum and follow the path to the All Blacks. I think it's quite good that some players are sort of deciding to play sevens. And
I mean, personally, I'm surprised he's missed out. I mean, he's
me too. Yeah,
progressive player.
Well, it just shows you how much we've got in the team. He missed out.
Another person who missed out and will be a non-travelling reserve is Eric Rush's son, Brady, is made the non-travelling reserve. So good luck to Eric Rush's son.
Absolutely.
Time to move on across the Indian Ocean. 3 positive COVID tests within the Springbok camp could put the British and Irish Lions tour in jeopardy as South Africa goes into a complete lockdown. They're basically at level 4, what we were this time last year. The tour is supposed to get underway with Lions playing the Lions, the Gauteng Lions.
Gauteng.
Based in Johannesburg, while all 3 tests have been moved to Cape Town. Why is this tour still going ahead?
No idea. I guess it's because they've been waiting so long.
Same reason as the Olympics and the European Championships.
Why don't they just tour New Zealand? I mean, or why don't, I understand they want to have the crowds there.
But they can't.
Could they play? No, but well, that's the thing. Could they play the games in New Zealand?
Oh, they could in New Zealand, yeah.
Yeah, people would go to them.
Absolutely.
Springboks versus Lions in New Zealand. You've got to find some other way of doing this, don't you? I just can't see how it can go here, but it is. And especially a Lions tour, always been about the fans, always been about the traveling fan, the way that they get swept up in it and get amongst it, get amongst the local community. I remember the last time they toured here in 2011 and before that in 2005. They were just everywhere and it was just so great. It's just a moment, where were you? And if they're not going to have any of that at all, because everyone's locked away, it's not really a Lions tour anyway, is it? So
and actually something ironic came out this week about that last Lions tour of New Zealand. The referee remained twat.
Far out, remained twat.
Yes, I did make a mistake in that final test of 2017.
Tell us about it.
Yeah, I feel so much better now.
Offside from the kickoff. Oh, hello. There was so much wrong with that. Yeah. Okay, we're going to keep it G-rated.
Yeah.
Oh, a Frenchman. Oh, who knew? He can just make a decision like that, can't he?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. Now, after the All Black squad was named last week, a couple of loose forwards have decided to leave New Zealand with unwanted Chiefs flanker Lachlan Boshier, who's only 26, heading to play for the Wild Knights in Japan. I cannot believe he didn't make the All Black squad.
Yeah, what did he do wrong?
Don't know. He was outstanding for the Chiefs.
It does make me think when someone that's perhaps that obvious for the squad doesn't make the side. Is there something else going on? Is there a Squires situation? Remember the mental health issues? Is it a no dickheads policy? Is there something like that? And unless the selectors come out and say, no, he hasn't been picked for this reason, that's the first thing I think of. He doesn't fit into the culture. That'd be because there's no reason why on the field he shouldn't be part of the team. He's a phenomenal player.
Actually, the other one
26 as well. 26, mate.
Yeah.
Prime time.
The other one that's heading offshore, maybe his non-selection could be around the no dickheads policy. I know there have been problems for him before, and that's Vai Fafita.
Yeah.
He's headed offshore to play for Wasps in England after he's sort of fallen out. He came onto the scene about 4 or 5 years ago with that wonderful 50-metre try at Plymouth, but has hardly been seen in a black jersey since.
Yeah, it was reminiscent of Ian Kirkpatrick from Poverty Bay, wasn't it?
I think one of the other problems with Fafita was the Hurricanes wanted him to play at lock, but they wanted him to play loose forward. So he sort of got put into that utility category. And
he wasn't quite good enough at either role.
Yeah, and also I think there might have been some personality problems as well. Just getting on with teammates. I might be wrong. Apologies if I am, but they're the sort of the whispers you hear. Sad to see those two heading offshore. Now there's a proposal being put to SANZAAR for Japan to join a revised or larger rugby championship in 2024 after their performances in recent Rugby World Cups and also last week's showing against the Lions. I thought they put up a great fight against the Lions last week.
Yeah, mate. I mean, I would actually be all for this. I mean, I think Japan have been one of those countries that's sort of been left out in the cold because of probably their geographical location. They sort of don't quite fit in anywhere.
Like New Zealand.
Yeah, but we got Australia next to us, so we're fine. Yeah, yeah. How are the Korean rugby union going? Where Japan's going? Yeah, I'd love to see Japan as part of the proposal. Why not? I mean, they are improving rapidly. They've never really done anything against the All Blacks, but if we played them maybe more regularly, maybe they would. And no, I reckon that'd be a great call. Long overdue.
Yeah, well, wasn't it the Springboks they beat in 2015? Wasn't
yes,
it?
At the World Cup. Yep, with that last minute try in the corner, Eddie Jones.
Another big win at the last Rugby World Cup where they hosted it. So
they always do something. They always pull out one upset, at least one upset. And wouldn't that be great if that's the whole thing with the Rugby Championship is just so bloody predictable. You throw Japan in there, if they can just beat one of the top sides just once, one side each time, that would just throw a little bit of a cat amongst the pigeons. And I think it'd make the competition a lot more interesting. So I'm all for Japan joining.
Quite right. So what's happening in rugby league, mate?
Oh, the rugby league, mate. Well, the Warriors obviously went down flat on our pace. Probably the worst performance of the year against Melbourne. We had a couple of players out. Reece Walsh was suspended, and that wasn't good. So your worst performance of the year. And then we played the Knights last week, and that was an ugly game and terrible weather. And didn't get a win there either. So the Warriors aren't looking too flash at the moment, mate. But we have made a couple of big signings over the last little while, including the return of a couple of players. Instantly returning, Chad Townsend, who used to be a halfback for the Warriors. He'll be in our side tonight, I believe. Straight away into the starting lineup. Of course, Chanel has been injured for the season, so they brought Chad in from the Sharks. Of course, he's been playing for the Sharks all season. They didn't want him. He's off to the Cowboys the season after next, so he's only going to play for the rest of the season for us. And then next season, coming in at halfback is the return of the prodigal son, Shaun Johnson. That's right. The Mad Butcher announced it on his news feed. Went gangbusters. Everyone's like, oh. Look, this is a tricky one. I when he left, it was on pretty bad terms. He said some stuff, and I was like, see you later, mate. Good luck to you. I haven't been a big fan of his playing for the Sharks. He hasn't done a hell of a lot. The thing is, though, what I think you have to look at is heart's still in Auckland. I believe that 100%. He's still got something to offer. He's not the same razzle-dazzle player that he was, but he can steer a team around the park. And we've got someone like we've got the new boy at the back. We've got Reece at the back now to provide the razzle-dazzle. We've got Dylan Zalesnia as well. We've signed a few other flashy and dashy players. He doesn't need to do that anymore. He can just be the roll around and just control the team around the park, and that's what we need him to do. He's got a good kicking game, and also the final part of that equation is that he's been signed for half the money he was on before. He was on close to $1 million before. He's been signed for $400,000 a year, so that doesn't take a massive dink out of the salary cap. So for me, I wasn't for it to start with. Once I heard how much money, once I started thinking about, we've got these other guys that can do the razzle dazzle. I actually think it's a really shrewd move. So I'm actually quite pleased we've got Shaun Johnson for next year. And a massive signing last night. Matt Lodge has signed for the Warriors. The big Broncos front rower. He's joining the Vodafone Warriors immediately after agreeing terms on a deal to the end of the 2022 NRL season. He's 1.91 meters, 117 kgs. He's a big unit. And him and Adam Fanua-Blake, if we can't get running ball off the back of those two going forward, mate, nothing will do it. Really interesting. I mean, obviously, we've got rid of our no dickheads policy because this guy's a real dickhead. But boy, can he play rugby league. So interesting.
Don't let him go to New York.
Yeah, so, I mean, the team's coming together for next year. Really interesting the way that they're putting the team together. Obviously, this year may be gone and maybe done and dusted, but, it'd be interesting to see how it all knits back together. So that's the Warriors. Then, of course, we had the State of Origin. And honestly, mate, I told you last time, if that's the pinnacle, I'm not having it. I reckon the Kiwis can beat them both. That was even almost worse on Wednesday night, on Sunday night. It was, the Queensland just ain't got anything. They're just...
Watching the highlights was bad enough.
Mate, I watched it till halftime and I thought, it's over. It's over. Yeah, I got rallies. Yeah. I got rallies in Queensland, and they were at halftime. They were like, "Who's watching the second half? Not me." They're Queenslanders. So I don't know what they're going to do about Origin, mate. They're going to have to beef it up somehow, or just maybe get rid of it because it's certainly not
sad for Reece Walsh having to miss out due to injury.
It's sad for him, not sad for a Warriors fan. I didn't want him to get broken in half. And how good that would not have done him any good playing for the Queensland side against that New South Wales side. I heard Gus Gould sort of saying, look, if you're good enough, you're old enough, but this guy's only 18 years old. It could do him some serious damage. And I sort of agree with him. It's different from bringing Freddie Fittler in as a 20-year-old. He was a man-child. Even Nathan Cleary was 21, so he was a lot older. I just think Reece Walsh, he's only played 7 games, man. I mean, God, give the kid a chance. And also, when they brought those other guys in, they were playing in teams that were experienced. They weren't looking for a Hail Mary to win the series. I just think Queensland are just shooting at stars. They're just looking for solutions, and they ain't got any, mate. New South Wales are far too good.
Now, tell me about this other Kiwi kid that had to be withdrawn from the Queensland side at the 11th. This Mulatola.
Yeah, Mulatola. He's a good player, but mate, he doesn't reach the criteria. I mean, they know what.
Would have worked that out before.
Of course they did.
The night before.
Of course they did. They could have just slipped. They were just trying to slip one through, mate. I think it's just like trying to get Jason Taumalolo to play. It's like.
Because that rule was changed after the James Tarmo situation, wasn't it?
It was. But then they've got, you go back and there was Adrian Lamb, who played for Queensland and also played for Papua New Guinea. And then there's been other guys that played for Papua New Guinea. It's just a mess. Their criteria used to be nice and simple. Where you played your first junior, that's where you're going to play. And now they've sort of tried to complicate it because they're trying to even up the sides. That's all they're trying to do. They're trying to make guys that weren't,
not working so well for Queensland, is it?
No, it's not. But that also says a lot about their player development. Where are the players coming through? Where are the halfbacks? Where are they? I mean, they just haven't been doing enough of that.
Well, it used to be that because the Broncos were strong and they would provide all the players, basically.
Yep.
Now they're a poor team, poor club.
Yep. But so are the Titans and the Cowboys.
Yeah.
All three Queensland sides
are poor, but. I mean, it was almost the old adage of when Auckland rugby's good, New Zealand rugby's good. Well, it was the same over there. If Broncos rugby league was good, Queensland rugby league was good.
Absolutely.
And then, of course, a lot of the Queenslanders started playing for Melbourne.
Yeah.
But, their Queensland base has drifted. So there's not so many of those.
You're looking at a dynasty for the next 2 years, mate. I mean, honestly, New South Wales, I mean, just hold my beer. Just give them the championship for next year, mate. They're just looking so strong. And Nathan Cleary, I mean, what can you say about the kid? If only we'd kept his dad here as coach. I mean, that was just the dumbest mistake. I mean, he could have been playing for the Warriors, couldn't he?
Yep. Well, I see the Panthers have shown they're not invincible. They've lost a couple of games in recent weeks.
They have, but they didn't have their origin stars. So, they'll be right when it comes to finals footy, mate. Penrith Panthers. It'll be a Penrith Storm final. I mean, the Storm last night, 46-0 against the Roosters.
Oh.
They absolutely smashed the Roosters. And I mean, every single time you sort of think, it's nothing. There's nothing worse than being a Warriors fan. Well, this year you could be a Broncos fan. The Roosters, I mean, they were top of the table a few weeks ago. And now look at them. I mean, the teams like the Storm and the Panthers, at any time, they can just pull it out and kill you, and they've done that to top sides this year. So, the Warriors, though, really interesting. It's going to be really interesting to see I love the look of our forward pack, man. I think our forward pack is coming along really good. And with Sean Johnson maybe driving them around next year, who knows? It could be our year in 2022.
Got to get through this year first.
Oh, yeah, okay. Get through this year.
Yeah. Anything else happening in the rugby league world?
Not really, mate. Not really. The mighty Northcote Tigers are playing every week now. The Fox Memorial Championship started back up here, and they're doing very well. So good to see them near the top of the table. But other than that, mate, no, not too much going on in the rugby league world other than the State of Origin and the. Of course, there's the female, the Auckland Warriors. Women's side has decided not to compete in the Australian competition, which is a little bit of a shame, but really that's a sensible decision based around the COVID protocols and everything. I think there's only going to be 4 teams or something in the women's comp for this year. Let's hope that next year they can bring all that back. Actually,
rumours abounding too that Australia and New Zealand might pull out of the Rugby League World Cup.
Yeah, I mean, once again, this is one of those. What do you? Yeah, I can't see it. I can't see it. I mean, if there's other events going on that are far bigger, and I just can't see how that would happen, especially in the UK with all the vaccination thing going pretty well over there, and they're bringing crowds back to the Premier League and all that sort of thing. But it's not too far away, the Rugby League World Cup. It's only a matter of about 8 weeks away or something, not too far. So, and they play great. They play at great grounds as well. I think they're playing at Old Trafford, St James's Park. I think Anfield's got a game as well. So, yeah, bring on the Rugby League World Cup, mate.
Quite right. Now, as I alluded to at the top of the stage, in the United States, it's Bobby Bonilla Day.
Okay. Yeah. Who's Bobby Bonilla besides the Banana Man?
Is a baseball player who played for the New York Mets, and for the 10th consecutive year, on July 1st, Bonilla has received a payment of $1,193,248.20.
Nice.
So the Mets agreed to make annual payments of nearly $1.2 million for 25 years, starting July 1, 2011.
I wondered why we were talking the Mets. I was thinking, why is he talking this up? You're making the Mets look stupid.
Including a negotiated 8% interest. Now, this is the kicker. They did this rather than pay him the $5.9 million he was owed in 2000. He will continue to receive the payments for another 14 years until 2035. So by the time Bryce Harper's 13-year contract with the Philadelphia Phillies, which he signed 2 years ago, will have finished before the Mets stop paying Bobby Bonilla.
That is phenomenal. Which accountant on which side decided that was the better deal? I think I'm going to go with Bobby's accountant. He did it very well there for Bobby, didn't he? Very well. That's
whichever agent negotiated that deal is an absolute
genius,
brilliant piece of business.
Yeah, I think it was Jerry Maguire. Jerry Maguire did that one. Yeah. He showed him the money. Show me the money.
Quite right. So congratulations, Bobby Bonilla. You've got another, what have we got? Another 14 years.
Wouldn't that be lovely, Macca?
It's great that the Mets just, pay him that money for doing absolutely nothing. And
I could seriously get used to doing that job.
Yeah. Is it any wonder the Mets fans were just completely and utterly sick of their owners?
What do they think of Bobby Bonilla, though? What do they think of him? What do they think of him now? Do they think he's an idiot, or they think they took him for
a great deal?
Well, fair enough. Good on them. At least they don't sort of hold it against him, eh?
So there you go. July 1st is Bobby Bonilla Day. So we'll bring that up again this time next year.
Love it.
Major League Baseball's decision to clamp down on pitchers using sticky substances has turned into a bit of a farce, with pitchers are being checked between innings, not every innings, just randomly, but some pitchers have taken it to the extent where they've actually dropped their trousers.
What?
Make sure that they have, make sure the umpires have no sticky other
It's players. A different sticky substance, Macca.
Yeah. Sergio Romo, the Oakland A's pitcher, dropped his trousers to prove he had nothing on him or his uniform. And now opposition managers are verging on gamesmanship, picking on opposition pitchers, which, of course, is causing the game to slow down while the umpires inspect the pitcher again and again. Now, this happened with Max Scherzer, the Washington Nationals superstar pitcher. Mm-hmm. There were rumors going around about whatever sticky substance he was using before this rule came in.
Yeah.
And couple of weeks, the pitchers have a rosin bag which sits behind the mound, and it's basically a powder thing. So what
I've seen that. I've seen that. I wondered what that was.
Yeah, it's to try and help the pitchers get a bit of a grip on the ball.
So the weightlifters, right? Or it's just basically, yeah.
So what pitchers are doing now is when they sweat, they're trying to get as much sweat onto their hands and then use the rosin bag so it creates a sticky substance on their fingers so they can grip the ball. And as Max Scherzer said in an interview the other day,
how is that illegal?
He doesn't want to be not gripping the ball properly because he throws at 90 and 95 miles per hour.
Yeah.
And one's going to slip out of his hand and go straight for a
guy's head. Yeah, exactly.
So Major League Baseball needs to come up with one substance and basically approve it and say, look, you can use this. I mean, rosin and sweat can only go so far. It doesn't really do the job. So what they need to do is approve a substance that the pitchers can use so they can get a decent grip on the ball. It's not like pitchers are ruling the game at the moment when you look at home run numbers.
Do you think if they do that, though, that everyone will just go to that? Will that stop the problem? Won't people still go, well, that's not good enough, I'm going to use something else? You know what I mean? Just for approving one thing. For me, it would be easier. I mean, I don't know whether, well, it's probably harder, but I mean, it's probably very, very difficult to do, but it may be easier to get rid of the problem, would be to change the ball. Change the ball so it's easier to grip without holding something, you know, slightly put, I don't know, but that could completely change the whole context of the game, couldn't it? Yeah. I mean, it could mean that the ball swerves more. It could mean that the ball is easier to hit or harder to hit and could completely stuff up the whole game. But what about something like pitchers wearing gloves? I mean, not a baseball glove, but some sort of glove that they can hurl it with. I don't know. I'm just thinking outside the square here.
I just say two of the game's prominent commentators, Rich Eisen and Bob Costas, were talking about this the other day on the Rich Eisen show.
Yeah.
And this is what Costas has basically come out and said is just approve one substance, put it behind the mound, so umpires and everybody in the ground can see
it and check
when the pitcher is using it. And so they know that that's the only substance that they're using. Maybe check the dugouts before the game, that there's nothing hidden away somewhere in a can or a tube or whatever, and do that. And I think personally it's just a farce watching pitchers come off the mound after the first inning and basically having to take their glove and cap off. And I started talking about before, the Philadelphia Phillies manager, Joe Girardi, noticed that Scherzer was rubbing his head during a game, which he never usually does. And Scherzer says, I'm trying to get sweat on my hand so I can use the rosin to grip the ball properly.
Yeah.
But other managers are now coming out and doing the same, saying, oh, he's rubbing his hand against his shirt here and blah, blah, blah. And they're not finding anything, but it's holding up the game. And MLB is all about speeding the game up.
Yeah, maybe the key to this, though, as well, Macca, is something you talked about before. Pitchers aren't exactly dominating the game at the moment anyway.
Unless you're Jacob deGrom.
Well, yeah. But there's always one or two, isn't there, that are aces. But really, it's still a hitter's game, isn't it?
Oh, absolutely.
So is this really a problem? I mean, is it just a problem made by the MLB because someone's made it a problem because someone started complaining and then...
Yep. And it started pretty much because Josh Donaldson, Minnesota Twins third baseman, started complaining about Garrett Cole, saying he uses spider tack. And so MLB had to investigate, and then they have to come up with a solution for it. So it's no sticky substances. And it's all like, thanks, Josh. You just
stuffed up the whole season for everyone. You look at. I know it's different with a cricket ball because it bounces and so it can swing differently. But the way that they've sort of changed things, you can't rough up one side. You can't. But sweat can actually seep into the ball. Can it not do that with a baseball? Your sweat won't actually get into the ball because when you shine up one side and the other side's roughed up, it'll swing more. In cricket, not like that in baseball.
No, well, you're not holding on to the ball as long in baseball as you are in cricket. Obviously, the bowler's got the ball in his hand all the way through his run-up,
Yeah.
whereas the baseball pitch is just standing there.
Yeah.
So he's not doing a run-up. He grabs the
Yeah.
ball out of his glove and throws it. So
and also, you don't have the two sides with one side, do you? It's all sort of the same. Yeah. And you only use one in cricket, you use one ball for 90 overs. In baseball, you use a different ball every pitch, don't you? So,
yeah, I think they go through about 120. 120 baseballs a game.
Yeah.
Crazy per side.
Yeah, it's a difficult one.
Yeah. Now, down in the independent leagues, Auckland's Jason Matthews has continued his great start to life as a professional with the Great Falls Voyagers in Montana in the Pioneer League. Jason's got a batting average of 392 with 12 hits, hit his first home run the other day, 7 doubles, 2 triples, 18 RBI, and 22 runs. So, yeah, keep that going, Jason. We've got the MLB draft taking place over the 11th to the 13th of this month, so it's only a couple of weeks away. And obviously, we've all got our fingers crossed that he gets picked up by a franchise. In minor league action, Kyle Glagoski is still on the disabled list with a right elbow strain, while Ben Thompson continues his good form, although he did have a blowout the other day. Poor Ben. He's at the low A Augusta Green Jackets, and in 13 relief appearances has picked up 2 wins, a loss on 17 hits, 9 earned runs with 11 walks, and has struck out 34. And his ERA, unfortunately, is blown out to 3.42 after that one game where he got taken to a wee bit. But and, of course, they'll be joined by Elliot Johnston shortly, who has been signed by Bobby Bonilla's New York Mets.
It's great to see so many Kiwis doing
quite right. Good, interesting game in the league the other day. The Milwaukee Brewers playing the Chicago Cubs. Top of the first, the Cubs plated 7. So went into the middle of the first inning 7-0 up. The Brewers scored 1 run in response, but by the end, it finished up Chicago Cubs 7, Milwaukee Brewers 15.
No way.
Football score.
15-7. It's crazy. Yeah. It's a league score. Another thing I did notice in the major leagues last night, mate, Yankees blew a 4-run 9th inning lead, mate. 820 straight wins when leading by 4+ entering the 9th inning. That streak was snapped yesterday. 820 games you've been leading by 3 runs, and it was broken yesterday. Made me a little bit sad for you.
Yeah, it made me definitely sad because the Yankees had plated 7 in the first inning, in the bottom of the first inning. Basically, Shohei Ohtani started that game.
Oh, did he?
His ERA was absolutely destroyed in that first inning. He'd gone in with an ERA of 2 point something, and it blew out big time with 7 runs, and he didn't get a single out.
Oh, so did he? When did they pull him out after the second and third inning?
Before the end of the first inning.
Oh, and did he bat?
No, he got taken out of the game. The commentators thought, they're bound to put him in now because he led off the game. But no, he is out of the game, and so they had to shuffle around their bullpen a bit to get through that game. But yeah, good on them for sticking at it. I mean, the Yankees, as I said, were leading 7-3 at one stage, and went on to blow it.
And you're almost back to 50-50 now, aren't you?
Yeah.
Huh?
They're going to have
not a vintage season.
Yeah, the trade deadline's the end of this month. So they're going to have to do something. I see they've traded for an Arizona utility nobody, Timlo Castro, who is hitting 173 or something at the moment. So, there's another outfielder at the Arizona Diamondbacks that I'd love the Yankees to sign, and Ketel Marte, but whether that'll happen or not.
Well, you can't have them all, Macca. Come on.
Yeah, well, the Diamondbacks are going to be sellers big time.
They will be.
They're facing a 100-loss season. So, but also congratulations to a good friend of mine at the Arizona Diamondbacks, Josh Rawich, who's Senior Vice President of Communications and Content. This week, he was named as President of the Baseball Hall of Fame in Cooperstown.
Wow. So, really? That's amazing. That's fantastic. So free tickets for Macca and Mahona to the Baseball Hall of Fame.
We'll do a live Hot Air Sports podcast from the Baseball Hall of Fame.
We certainly will.
Over there, of course.
Well, we are available. What is what we'll say? We are available to do that. We'll just see. We'll see whether it works into our schedule.
Right.
Yeah.
I'll get Josh's people to talk to our people.
Exactly. That's what we do. Okay. So other bat and ball sports. Should we go to cricket?
Yeah, a bit more about cricket. Where you go?
Ross Taylor and Tim Southey both rearing to go for more Black Caps action. Ross Taylor said he's not retiring. He's 37. He said, no, I want to keep playing cricket. 19 centuries under his belt. And, of course, he hit the winning runs for us in the World Test Championship. So I think why not? Why not? He's still playing good enough. Southey's only 32, but he is a bowler, so bowlers do tend to retire a bit earlier. He's currently on 314 Test wickets, well in sight of Daniel Vettori's 361. He's played a few less tests than Daniel did for those. Yeah, for those wickets though. Good, and he could actually, based on those figures, he could overtake Richard Hadley's 431 wickets. What's he on at the moment? 314. So, yeah, only another 115 odd wickets, and he'll overtake Richard Hadley. Do you think he can do it?
Well, I mean, it's only taken him, I think, a year and a half to get his last 100 wickets. So, he could quite easily do that. And I reckon he could even close in on 500 if he can continue. Fitness is the big thing, I guess, now that he's into his early 30s. And even Trent Bolt, who's a year younger or about 9 months younger, is only 8 wickets short of 300. And he could actually eclipse all of those in front of him. That's
absolutely incredible when you think now, by this time next year, we'll be able to say, well, we've got 2 bowlers that have got over 300. We've got another guy, Wagner, who's probably he'll be closing in on 300 as well by then. He's on 200. That's just incredible to say. I mean, you look 5 years ago, we were nowhere near it, were we? And also Kane Williamson's gone to the top of the batting ratings.
Yes.
For the ICC batting rankings. He's gone ahead of Steve Smith now and Manus Labuschagne, who's in 3rd place. So the guys with the sandpaper, 2nd and 3rd, slipping down the order. Virat Kohli's in 4th, Joe Root, Rohit Sharma, Rishbad Pant. They've got a few Indians in there. And then 8 is Davey Warner, Quinton de Kock at 9, and Henry Nichols at 10. I think Conway's up to about 30 odd. He'll be in the top 10 before we know it. So yeah, all the Kiwis doing very, very well in the world rankings.
Likewise, Kyle Jamieson, I'm sure he'll be in that top 10 bowling.
I think he's 14th or something at the moment. So doing very well. All of it, mate. Our cricket team, how good, how good. And the T20 World Cup has been moved from India to the UAE for COVID reasons.
Bit obvious.
Any comments?
I won't be watching much of it, if any.
It's T20. It's kids cricket, isn't it?
Yeah.
That's what I call it, kids cricket. I mean, really, mate, if they had have told us when we were kids, well, right, kids, today you're going to be playing a 20-over side match, we would have gone, 20 overs, it's not enough. We would have said that back when we were kids. Nowadays, 20 overs, that's plenty. 20 overs.
Yeah.
No, it's not real cricket, mate. It's not real cricket. We're only interested in the real stuff.
Quite right.
Yeah. So let's get
Northern Hemisphere summer. Wimbledon's underway. And
it is.
Do you think Serena Williams is going to be playing much longer?
No, I don't. She cried off the court after hurting herself. A few people falling over on those courts.
I don't know what it is this year, but a lot of players have complained about it with Roger Federer's opponent injuring himself and having to withdraw. Djokovic, Nick Kyrgios, John Isner, and Serena all falling over on the courts. Despite there's been no rain. They're blaming it on the fact that they've got a roof over Wimbledon now, but that's only on centre court. This has been happening on all the courts. So, and Kyrgios made a comment about why isn't it real grass? So I haven't read more into that.
I wouldn't listen to anything that guy says.
True.
Look, to me, I just think what sort of tires were they wearing? What sort of shoes were they wearing back in the 70s and 80s? The old Scalar Up All Stars, mate.
Quite right.
They never slipped. It's this newfangled footwear that they're using. It's like they've all got these ear pockets and they look real snazzy, but they can't grip like a Scalar Up All Star, mate. They need to wear better footwear. I think that's probably the problem. I don't think it's changed that much. Wimbledon have actually come out and said, look, they're exactly the same as they always are. people need to get a grip. I mean, literally. Get a grip. And it's just one of those things. I mean, on grass, they used to. I mean, the guys used to slide everywhere. They remember when they used to get those. They used to slide along the courts. You don't see that too much anymore. Maybe it's because their sneakers are just catching. You need to get those Scalar Up All Stars back in there, mate. That's right. That's what it is.
And age doesn't appear to be a factor at Wimbledon. The Serena's 41-year-old sister Venus and 39-year-old Roger Federer are both advancing to the second round.
Yeah, I mean, Wimbledon is one for the older athlete, isn't it? I mean, even though it's supposed to be a quicker game on grass, I suppose the rallies are over quicker as well, which means you don't have to do as much running. So, I'd love to see I'd love to see Federer win it. I'd absolutely love that. I mean, I'm all for the older guy. Even Phil Mickelson, when he won the other day, I was actually quite happy for him. I think it's great when an older guy comes through and shows the younger whippersnappers how it's done. So go Roger and go Venus. That'd be great to see.
Quite right. Moving to shot putting, which is one of New Zealand's favourite sports.
Of
Olympic
course.
Bound shot putter Tom Walsh has won 4 lead-up tournaments in a row, but is still struggling to reach the 22-metre mark and faces huge competition from American Ryan Krauser, who has recently put up a staggering 23.37 world record mark, and just the other day went past 23 metres again. So Tom's got a bit of hard work ahead of him.
He does. I mean, I just don't know enough about these sorts of events. All I know is when the Olympics come on, I know heaps about it. I know a lot more than normal. No, mate, Tom Walsh, I've got all confidence in the guy. He's just got the right attitude. I like I like the cut of his jib. Every time I hear him talk, I think, mate, you are a fair dinkum legend.
He's a good Cantabrian, mate.
Well, yeah, don't think that's the reason he's a good guy, really. No, but he's a good guy. I really like him, and I just hope he goes well, mate. Every time that a shot putter, a power athlete of ours, is competing against an American, I always am a little bit suspect. I'm always thinking, our guy eats a lot of steak, I know, but what does your guy do? What's he eating? What's he putting on his cornflakes? Always a little bit wary of those American and those Eastern Bloc athletes when it comes to the power events, mate.
Especially those Belarusians.
Absolutely. What was her name? Nadia Ostapchuk. I'll never forget that woman. Never forget it.
Yeah.
All right.
Good week, bad week. Have you got a good week?
Okay. No, I hadn't, but I'm going to do it anyway. Good week. I'm going to say it's been a very good week for Rafael Benitez. He's got a new job. He's in Liverpool. He's a happy man. He doesn't quite have the squad he used to do. He's going to be have a fan base on him, watching his every move. But poor old Rafa. Mid-table mediocrity will be fine for those Evertonian fans. So good on you, Rafa. You're back in a job. So good for you. Bad week. I would have to say. No. Well, that's I was going to say it's a bad week for France. Yeah. It's a bad week for France. They're much talked about football team. They've got stars in every position. They've got the best striker. They've got Paul Pogba rejuvenated. They've got great defenders. Yep. And they get knocked out in the first round of the first knockout rounds of the European Championships after leading by 2 goals with only a few minutes to go by little old Switzerland. And we all know Switzerland are neutral as well. So you got beaten by a neutral country. Poor old France. I really feel sorry for you. Never mind.
Yeah. As old Sergeant Major used to say in Botman, oh dear, old Sard, never mind.
Or hello, listen very carefully. I shall say this only once. France are down the toilet. No, they were just not in it, were they? I mean,
no, they weren't.
I mean,
won the game at 3-1 and started celebrating. And
it's great to see France losing like that, because it reminded me of some Rugby World Cups that have gone by, and when they weren't the favourites and they did the same thing to another rather more favoured team.
Here's hoping it might knock down the transfer price of Kylian Mbappe too.
That would be lovely, wouldn't it? That'd be lovely. He'd look really good in Liverpool red, I reckon.
Certainly would. On that note, we'll bring this Hot Air Sports podcast to a close.
Okay.
You subscribe on YouTube and Spotify.
Make a comment, like us.
Yeah, give us a comment.
Yeah.
Tell us what's going on, and we'll read out some of those comments in future episodes.
We certainly will.
Thanks for listening. Thanks for watching, and we'll catch you again soon.